Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today at Presidio to celebrate this wonderful occasion. My name is Thomas Eckno, principal here at Presidio Middle School. And I want to warmly welcome all of you to our school. We're thrilled to be hosting our distinguished guest from Salesforce, the Mayor's Office, and San Francisco Unified to announce the third year of a partnership between Salesforce and the San Francisco Unified School District to transform STEM education and students and teachers. I especially want to welcome and acknowledge our Board of Education members, President Emily Morasse, Shaman Walton, Jill Wins, Hydra Mendoza McDonald, and Sandra Fewer. I'd also like to take a moment to thank Supervisor Eric Marr for coming out today as well. And I especially want to welcome and acknowledge, that's enough about me, but I want to hand it off to our real honorary guests today, our own Kiara Neely and David Rauschwerger, who are going to lead us in a few Presidio cheers. You guys?
Yeah.
Good afternoon, sixth graders. You are probably very excited to be here today. But before we start, we're going to do a little cheer. As you can see, the yard is separated into two sections, the right and the left. Kiara is going to take the right section, and I'm going to take the left. And we're going to do a call and response. And Kiara's going to tell you a little about how that goes.
Okay. You can scream, you can shout, you can clap, you just have to be loud. We're going to start with my side. When I say Presidio, you say Panthers. Presidio. Panthers! Presidio. Panthers! Presidio. Panthers! I was good.
That was great. Good job, guys. Our side, let's be a little bit louder, all right? So when I say Presidio, you say Panthers. Presidio! Panthers! Presidio! Panthers! Louder! Presidio! We do have one more thing.
We are going to do the regular Presidio cheer. We will. Never mind.
We're going to bring the whole sixth grade together, and we're going to do one group cheer. So we're going to start that right now. So, one more thing. When we point to you at the end, you all are going to scream roar as loud as you can. You guys ready? Ready? P, P-R, P-R-E-S. Presidio, 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 Presidio.
Yeah. You guys are awesome. Perfect. Good job, brother.
Okay. Thank you, Kiara and David. It is now my privilege to introduce the mayor of our wonderful city, Mayor Ed Lee. Welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Principal. Thank you to Kiara and David. Wonderful student leaders, aren't they? Your leaders. Well, it's my pleasure to join the school board, Superintendent Carranza, our supervisor here today, to thank all of you for being not only great students, but being in one of the greatest schools in San Francisco, Presidio. Yeah. Well, as your mayor, one of the things I got to do was sit down a few years ago and talk to my good friend Mark and Lynn Benioff, who are great leaders in their own right in the business community. And we talked about what we all were truly motivated by, what our passions were for being what we're doing and who we are and where we came from. And I expressed to Mark one evening that I really wanted to do something for education because I was lucky to have a great education. My parents didn't have a lot of money, but I got lucky and got a lot of friends and went to some great institutions, and I wanted to return that and kind of on a personal level, make sure that I did my part in helping our public schools be the best that they can be. So I focused on all of our public education institutions in San Francisco and said that if we're a world-class city with world-class companies like Salesforce, we should also have a world-class public education for everybody to enjoy and to be a part of. And so we looked at the stats. We said we were challenged in our middle schools and that we wanted to make sure that our middle schools were the best that they could be. So we wanted to focus on not only helping them become better, but making sure that the principals and the teachers also felt that the city would support them. And so we went on a quest, and I asked if the Salesforce Foundation, through Mark's leadership, could help us, and by golly, they started and they did. And not only has the Benioffs been a great leadership in their corporate giving, but there's also been helpful with the challenges that we have for homeless families, for veterans, and certainly for our health care in their support for our UCSF Benioff Children's Hospital. So today, we are continuing in our third year of an unprecedented investment in our public schools and continuing to focus on our middle grades. But not only is our middle grades being the focus, but we have done so well in providing a STEM foundation, a science, technology, engineering, and math foundation in this third year that with the help of the school district and Superintendent Carranza, we decided that this was the time when not only the middle schools would benefit, but the entire public education, and particularly reaching into the high schools. As you are preparing yourselves for high school, we wanted to also make sure that our resources, combined with the Salesforce Foundation's gifts, but also the incredible amount. You see all these people with these nice t-shirts? They're our incredible volunteer workforce from Salesforce. Thank you for being there. Because not only are the resources provided to the principals and teachers, but the volunteerism that is expressed through Salesforce Foundation and Salesforce companies' own motto of 111 and giving back to our communities and our school districts and all the other wonderful things that happen, but we want that volunteerism to be expressed not only in this school, but every school. And so they've infected, in a very positive way, the entire technology companies that Ron Conway and others at SF.citi have also come in on encircling the schools to make sure that all of our public schools get the benefit of the technology companies. So over 2,500 technology companies have now stepped forward because of the Salesforce leadership. They have also stepped forward to circle all of our schools and make sure that volunteerism, resources, and support for our public schools become part of their motto as well. But it began somewhere in the conversation, and both Ron and Mark were there, began with my commitment to make sure this city has the best public school system it can be. And yes, the articles are right. It wasn't with strings. It was, except for one. There was a string actually attached, I have to say. And that string was really to be the best that you can be. It's a string that I think everybody appreciates. I think all the kids here, when your parents talk to you and want you to be the best, and they do everything for you to support your education, we wanted to do the same thing with all of our public schools and with our school board. No strings except for one. Be the best that you can be. Hold each other accountable, principals and teachers, teachers with the parents, parents with the kids. You find that string. And the other string that I have is for myself. As the mayor here, that I have a string to make sure we can be the best city that we can be, embracing all of our schools, making sure all the companies act like Salesforce has been and its foundation to make sure that they unveil their support for education, but also all the other things that they've been doing as well to exemplify good leadership in the business community, working with government, working with our school district and our school board to be the best we can be. And the return on that is going to be incredible, because I can already see in this third-year commitment that the students are excited to be here with the principal, with the support, and the support of our volunteers. It takes place in this education, but I want all of you to know there's the greatest jobs in the world waiting for you as you graduate, or even when you're in high school. We've already started a cadet program with our police department once you come out. If you want to be a police officer, if you want to be an engineer, you want to be a teacher, you want to be a scientist, you want to be a lab technician, or work in the greatest hospitals in the world as a doctor, or the greatest technology companies in the world that are here, or a great part of our tourism. You can manage the best hotels and the best restaurants, or you can be a mayor. Absolutely. Or be a supervisor, or be one of anything that you want. It's wide open for you because you've got a great foundation in education. You can really, truly invest in yourselves to have the greatest goals you can be. This is what has always been our passion. I want to personally thank Mark and Lynn Benioff, because it takes leadership to actually produce all these resources and support. We have constantly engaged with each other about our dreams for this wonderful city and making sure we properly invest in our youth. That's why we take the time to go out and see a movie with kids, Martin Luther King Day, and have a chat with them about what they want to see as part of the vision that they have for a great city. But we also engage in parents. We engage with our communities. We engage with our education professionals. And I want to say thank you to Presidio Middle School, all the students here, all the volunteers here, to be a great school. I want to say again thank you to Mark, because Salesforce, I understand, as part of the Circle of Schools program, has specifically adopted the Presidio Middle School. Kind of like having a great uncle for Presidio Middle School. How they adopted you. How do you like that? These are wonderful times for our city. We have great challenges in front of us, but we have a very secure foundation by which to solve many of our problems. And I'm so lucky to be your mayor, and I'm going to be working really hard, because around the corner, we got to build more housing for our teachers, right? Make sure that it's not just what happens in the classroom. It's what happens every single day, whether it's on our streets, in the city. I got to build 30,000 more units, and making sure that a great part of those, over 50%, are affordable to working class families, and making sure we also take care of those that are low income as well, as those can afford the market rate housing that we're building. This is a challenge of our times, and we're up to it, but we also got great problem solvers right here on the school grounds. Thank you very much, and congratulations. May I introduce to you the CEO of Salesforce, Mark Benioff.
All right. Well, Mayor, thank you. That was such a nice introduction, and I'll tell you what a great lunch we had now. It was only about 4 years ago, you guys. The mayor invited me to Ella's down on California. How many of you have been to Ella's? Raise your hand. They have good pancakes there. Okay. He had the pancakes. I had the French toast. And what the mayor said was, the most important thing we have in San Francisco, which is the greatest city in the world, and just look at how beautiful it is here. It's nirvana. The most important thing we have in San Francisco is our kids, because our kids are our future. Do you guys agree with that? Yeah. Kids are the future. And when I went to high school, guess what? We were in Burlingame. We were the Panthers too. So there is a karmic connection here with the Panthers. Isn't that cool? And yeah, and I have a cheer too. We have all these Salesforce employees behind us. Raise your hand, Salesforce employees. And there are volunteers. And we have a cheer too. And it goes like this. When I say sales, you say force. Sales. Force. Sales. Force. Sales. Force. Yeah, that's pretty good, huh? Yeah. So, you know, we're excited to make a big financial contribution here to the school district. That's really exciting to us. It's great to write a check, but we're not just here to write a check and to bring you just money, because money alone doesn't do anything for schools. I'll tell you what helps schools. What helps schools is all of us embracing the school, embracing our great principal, embracing our great school board, embracing our great superintendent, our mayor, and you, all of our kids, all of us together coming together, and that's why everyone at Salesforce is so excited to be here. Of course, we also like technology. Do you guys like iPads? Oh, okay, good. Have you guys seen more iPads around your school lately? No. Oh, no, that's so sad. That's because we got you books. Are you excited about having books? Well, guess what? I don't know what the superintendent did with all the iPads. We're going to have to go check his closet to see what's going on, okay? But we're bringing all these great computers, we're bringing all these great volunteers, and we're bringing a lot of money to make Presidio School a better school. Isn't that exciting? Yeah. And we all want Presidio School to be the best school possible, don't we? And we can do it together, can't we? Yeah. So that's why we're here, and we're excited to be with you. We're excited to focus on Presidio School as well as all the schools in San Francisco. And I just want to thank the mayor. I want to thank the superintendent. I want to thank the school board. I want to also thank Suzanne DiBianco, who runs our foundation. Stand up, Suzanne. And we also have some of the board members here from our foundation. Stand up, board members, and take your bow. So it's going to take everyone in this whole assembly to make this the best school in San Francisco, but we can do it. Are you guys ready to have the best school in San Francisco? All right, so this is my assignment for you. What I want you to do is sit down with your teachers, okay? And I want you to make a list of what is it going to take to make Presidio Middle School the best school in San Francisco. Now, here's the thing. Does everybody have an idea? Raise your hand if you have an idea ready. What? That's all the ideas we have? We're going to need a lot more ideas than that. Raise your hand if you have an idea on how to make the Presidio Middle School the best school in San Francisco. All right, that's better. Now let's try it again. Raise your hand if you have a great idea to make the Presidio Hill School the best school in San Francisco. That's it. That's what I'm talking about. And you're going to go back to your classrooms, and this is what you're going to do. You're going to write your ideas down, okay, and you're going to prioritize them. Does everybody know what prioritization means? Prioritization means what is the most important thing. Because if everything is important, then nothing is important. So we have to choose what we're going to do first. And you guys are going to give us the list, and all those guys behind you with those blue and white shirts, do you see them? Look around. They're going to get it done. It's really awesome to have them because they're going to work hard, and you give us the list, we're going to get it done. How does that sound? So you have to come up with some good ideas. All right, thank you, Mayor, and let's hear from our great superintendent here. Great.
Thank you, Mr. Benioff. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. How about Presidio Panthers? How are you? This is awesome. So you've thanked everyone that I wanted to thank, and I also want to especially thank our Board of Education for being here, and thank you for your guidance and your leadership here in San Francisco. You know, with leaders like Mayor Lee and Mr. Benioff, and Mrs. Benioff, quite frankly, this city is changing the face of public education and changing education for the entire nation. And I'll tell you why. Because if you listen carefully to what the mayor said and what Mr. Benioff said, they're investing in our schools with the only return expected being a great education for our citizens, for our students in San Francisco. So when they say there's no strings attached, there aren't any strings attached. It's not like we're going to give you a donation and you have to do X, Y, and Z. What we've always talked about, and what I appreciate, Mr. Benioff and Mr. Mayor, it's always been about what will it take to make sure that our students in San Francisco have the best, richest, most awesome education possible. And that's what your investment is helping us to do. You know, the Board of Education a year ago adopted a very visionary vision for our city and for our school system, and we call it Vision 2025. And by the year 2025, we've identified what we want in a profile for a graduate of every one of our students, of every one of our schools. And I will tell you, Mr. Benioff, I'll tell you, Mr. Conway, I'll tell you, anyone that's out there, you will want to hire our students based on the profile and how they're going to leave our schools. They're going to be creative thinkers, they're going to be innovators, they're going to be able to converse in multiple languages, including computer coding. They're going to be able to be team players. They're going to be able to be deep thinkers and be able to work on teams. I can't think of anyone that wouldn't want to hire one of those students. So what your investment is helping us to do is to put into effect, put into motion Vision 2025. And it doesn't happen with just our incredible teachers at Presidio and elsewhere around the district. It doesn't happen with incredible leaders like Principal Ekno. It doesn't just happen because the superintendent and the Board of Education say it needs to happen. It happens when our philanthropic business icons like yourself, Mr. Benioff, roll up their sleeves and say, how can I help the schools? How can I come in and ask the educators, what can we do? How can we make our schools even better? That's the true authentic partnership that we have in our schools and why we're so excited about it. You know, Mr. Mayor mentioned something that 4 years ago there was a conversation and we looked at the data, and I remember that conversation, subsequent conversations, and we said, well, middle schools are where we probably should pay attention because there seems to be a lack of engagement, there seems to be a little dip in student performance, parents aren't engaged. All the indicators said middle schools are where we should look at. So Mr. Benioff, Mr. Mayor, let me tell you what's happened in those years. As we speak, the middle schools and the middle grades in San Francisco are bursting at the seams. We are at 100% enrollment, and there are waiting lists for our middle schools because the word is out that the magic is happening in the middle grades in San Francisco. The word is out. When Mr. Benioff asked, have you seen a lot of iPads? And a lot of students said, well, no. I'm actually pretty happy about that because the investment hasn't been about devices. The investment has been investing not only in devices, but also investing in our wonderful teachers. So when we have an opportunity to take you in the classroom, you're going to see teachers teaching in a very different way and students demonstrating their learning in a very, very different way, which has been possible by this investment that you've made, not only in technology, but also in the professional development for our incredible educators to take it up even a higher notch. We also are very proud of the fact, sirs, that we are the first school district in the nation to have adopted a pre-K through 12 computer science curriculum. The first in the nation. Now, those conversations started as well when we started talking about what's it going to take to make this middle grades in San Francisco the #1 across the nation. So in many regards, we're now leading the nation from a place where we said, let's pay attention to a particular grade span. We are now knocking it out of the park. As a student told me last week when I was at an event, Mr. Superintendent, we're crushing it. We're crushing it in the middle grades, and that couldn't have happened without the incredible work that you've done. I also want to take a moment, please, just to say a special thank you to our folks with SF.citi. Mr. Conway is here, and I know that Alex Turk, you're also here. I want to thank you because what folks don't understand is that Circle the Schools is a twist on the old Adopt the School, but it's taken it up a notch. So our organizations and our businesses and our tech companies are circling schools by circling to support our schools. And they're having the same conversations that Mr. Benioff just very briefly had with our students about what do you want? What does it take for you and your school to take it to the next level? Our tech community is having those conversations with our schools across the city. And I'm happy to report that every single middle school and K-8 and every single high school is fully circled. And a good percentage of our elementaries are now fully circled. So I think that deserves a round of applause too. So I want to say thank you for doing that. And this is the promise that we make to our students, that if you study hard, if you become engaged and really understand what you're trying to learn and what you're learning for, There are jobs in San Francisco, not only in the tech community, but in the educational community. We want you to graduate from San Francisco's public schools. We want you to live and work in San Francisco so that we continue to be the most diverse workforce in the nation and also the most innovative workforce in the nation. That's the message that we want all of you, Presidio Panthers, to take with you today, that you have a future here in San Francisco. So with that, I want to thank Salesforce. I want to thank the mayor for your incredible support of our schools. And I want to thank you for also saying what we've said from the beginning. You cannot have a world-class city without a world-class public education system. And if you look at the numbers at our middle schools and in our elementary schools and in our high schools, the word is out. People are coming to public schools first, and they're coming to public schools again and again. And it's because of this investment and this support of our community that's making that happen. So we want to thank you for your investment and your 10-year investment, I understand. It's not just a drop in the bucket, but I understand maybe longer. Why not? Let's do that. But that's the kind of commitment that we're talking about. It's not a flyby. It's not a drive-by. It's a very much an investment, and we're very proud to link arms with you and continue to make that investment something we're all proud of as we march towards Vision 2025. So with that, thank you, and I'm very, very excited about this next phase of our partnership. And Presidio Panthers, how about one large cheer for our benefactor, Mr. Benioff, and our mayor? How about a big Panther cheer? Yay! Thank you. So I'm going to turn this over to Principal Ekno, who will take this home and finish off the program.
Thank you all. So students, before we go back, Salesforce is launching a book for every student, and they're going to start with you. And so teachers, as we go back to class, we're going to start with the front, and our Salesforce volunteers are going to be handing every student a book today to take home tonight to start reading. So thank you, Salesforce, very much for that. So thank you. So let's go ahead. Mr.